I found some of the things that were most interesting were the things around like consumer behavior. So I think we've touched on it a lot already, but you know, there's when you bring psychology into the mix, you know, there's a lot of like minor tactical changes that you can make on your ads and like in your narrative to just like help the reader sort of just understand your product or service better. And one thing that I thought was like really interesting, although it's almost kind of sad, uh, um, it, ads that are easier to read and have like a lower like grade of literacy outperform words or ads that try to like I don't know sound like exquisite, like use words that are like a higher level of reading just from like a grade 10 level to like a grade 7 level. It makes a big difference. So, but at the end of the day, if you think about it from a psychology perspective, when people are scrolling through Instagram, you know, it's like the end of the day. You don't want to be reading about like in-depth like details. You just want to be amused and entertained. So when ads are just, you know, they just get right to the point. It's like, this is what this product does and this is the problem that it is solving. Those are the ones that are going to be most successful. So sometimes it isn't just about like, I don't know, dumbing it down, but it's just like making it easier because there is so
Yeah.
much content out there and you don't want to add like another layer that someone might say no to, you know what I mean? So
I think we're all in the business of the attention economy, I guess you would call it. Like it's what we're competing for is people's attention, and it's not your ad versus another person's ad, right? It's your ad versus this hilarious cat video versus like these cool stunts versus somebody dancing versus whatever else they're browsing through. So it's not like somebody's just like happening upon, a series of ads all in a row. It's not like a classifieds. It's like interspersed amongst their content that they're trying to entertain themselves with. Just
yeah, and no one can no who's gonna compete with a kitten video or like or like a dog playing with like bubbles. Like you can't
I
it's
know.
impossible.
We're even learning that ourselves. We're like, oh, so people like our dogs more than they like us on social. So it's
Oh
like,
right, yeah, Bowie, spit some stats. Ellie is more popular than me. Shoot.
that's right.
But even worse, I think with our level of attention, my level of attention, let's say as human, overall speaking, I believe that every single year, year by year, we are investing, dedicating less time to pay attention on something. So consequently, it's a big challenge as well.
Yeah. I can't remember if it was in this conference or maybe an article I read after, but it was the statement essentially was that, there's a lot of stats out there that say our attention span is getting shorter and shorter. But essentially, the stat said that's not true. It's just where we're putting our attention is changing a lot. Because, like, I'm sure all of you have no problem watching a 3 hour movie and paying attention to it, or, watching a full series of shows on a weekend. But it's just like where you want to put your attention. Anyone with anything to add about attention spans?
Yeah, I think that really has to do with us wanting things that give us value. And that's something, at least on social, people really tend to forget that it isn't always about you. You need to give more than you're taking.
That's true. Like, if you are trying to start growing, if you're starting a community, the part of it that a lot of people forget is the engagement or actually going out there and talking to other people, because we all feel like we have this platform, a sudden like a soapbox, a place that you can post things that's dedicated to you, your business, etc. But if you're just shouting things out, like, it's so transparent to your audience that you're just trying to make a sale, you're just trying to advertise yourself, and there's like no value that you're getting out of it. And that's like a follower gap situation, right? Like, people seeing like, okay, it looks really polished. It's lots of like, a well-matched branding type content. But if it doesn't bring any value, there's like no value in really following there.
Yeah, even with talking about attention span, even with content, like trying to find that balance for on-page content, like you don't want it too thin that you're not really educating or putting out like whatever the
Yeah.
services are, and then you don't want it too long either, where it's like so much content below the fold, you're just constantly scrolling down because you don't want to overwhelm your users with what you're speaking about. Whereas like blogs, that's where you can be a little bit more creative or funny or humorous or talk about a range of different topics, right? So yeah, just trying to find that balance all the time of like, okay, attention span, what you want to talk about, and making sure you're getting getting to the point, but at the same time not too quickly, right? Because you don't want just like 2 sentences. Yeah, there's the page, we're done.
What's like a good example of like this has gone too far? Recipes. Like where like it's like recipes are blogs technically, right? Like there's always like a big long list of something, but have you guys ever looked up a recipe and it's like it starts with like back when my grandma taught me how to make cookies, like she would do this, and there's like just like this huge essay about things in order to, I don't know, tell like a longer story, have like more depth of content, and you're just like, where's the recipe? Like I live for that jump to recipe button.
Yeah, and then it's just like in 1792 in like Tuscany, these chocolate chips were, and you're like, I don't care about the history of chocolate chips. Like, tell me how to make my cookies.
Yeah, and I feel like that's like the part that's like gone too far on the side of like adding tons of value and personality and everything, where it's like a trope now that people just make fun of like long recipes.
It's so funny though about that notion of attention span and like content length and the importance in different sectors. Site speed is so underrated, and there was one video that really talked about the importance of it. Some sites are just trying to put too much like video and they're not embedding it properly, or they have the wrong server. If like people, in the LTE data times of today, people expect websites to load very fast. And if your site takes like 4 to 5 seconds per page, like they're already gone. Like they're bouncing quite literally. The bounce rate is increasing. And so there's a lot of, when you go into Google Analytics and you look at all the different percentages, it goes a long way to look at all those different rates and the speeds and whatnot. And Google, like those are all signals that Google takes into consideration as well. So I'm sure Dan speak for an hour about that kind of stuff, but very, very important.
Yeah, I would say that's like an often forgotten one about your site speed and your site performance. When clients ask us like, how long is my site going to last, or like when do I need a new one, there's like this time in around like the 5 to 8 year mark where sites are slowing down, but it's not a result of like the original build or anything. It's that very often companies change so much, so they start to layer on more pages and more sections and more tools and more widgets that it just gets really unwieldy around that like 5 year mark. So yeah, definitely the performance is so often overlooked. Okay, so I think I want to conclude like very simply to give like a straight up answer from everyone. AdWorld is already selling their tickets for next year, so we got to pitch to our company, like, do we want to go again? I want to hear from everyone. Would you go again, and why?
I'll say I'm gonna start it off this time. I'm gonna go with yes, because I hope that it's in person this time. So hopefully, everyone's all vaccinated and this pandemic's over, and then just to meet, just go in person and enjoy that type of experience that we all miss, as you can see, that we all talked about, right? Like besides the swag, the food, but also like to see your competitors, right? Like you see their actual faces. You're like, oh, that's who they are too, right? But yeah, so like I would love, I would go again, because what I learned online, to learn that in person, and I bet the questions, the FAQs and stuff like that would be different. So I would say yes.
I can't wait to have lunch next year. Who else?
I would say yes too. It's always important to have a chance to learn something new and implement something that can help our clients and ourselves as well.
Yeah, I think the variety in the content was just so great for every member of this team.
Yep.
Who else?
I'll go next. I mean, of course, they're from the breadth of the topics and the speakers, and everyone is like the CEO or like head product manager of all these big like Fortune 500 tech companies, and the insights are amazing. One thing, as an advertising agency with 30 plus clients, we do have all these great insights that we can extract from different campaigns. And even though we have clients in different industries and sectors, there are insights that can be extrapolated and can apply to different sectors. But from AdWorld conference, they have like multi-million-dollar budgets, and the campaigns are reaching like the world. Like one video is a guy from Lithuania who's got an agency in Europe, and then the next speaker is from the States. Then there's a speaker from Canada. So you get all these great insights and findings, and being able to put it all together in like a blog or just I don't know about you guys, but I've got pages of notes, and it's also applicable. Some of it is very tactical, but other forms of notes are more strategic. So it's great to have a bit of both.
I think a big part of it being AdWorld and having so many international participants is that everything in digital is just making the world smaller. It's all very accessible. Who else? Michael, would you go again?
Command D.
I'm no longer on mute. I have solved the problem. Yeah, so from my perspective, I thought as far as they could have handled it being completely online, I think they did a really solid job. I don't know how much better they could have put together an online conference like this that was so comprehensive, had so many great variety of speakers and really good quality conversations that were being had. I would love to go in person, as Daniel said. Fingers crossed we can do that next year. But yeah, just so many valuable insights that were gained, and I thought it was really valuable for the education for our team. And I think we have lots of insights that we're going to carry into our work from now on.
I know, and they have replays since it was all digital for like the next. It's 4 weeks that they're available. So I know, Michael, you said there's like even more that you want to watch. So
absolutely,
I think that part of it being digital has been like really valuable, being able to suggest to each other. I saw this one, you've got to watch it. Whereas like when we went to in-person ones in the past, it was like, I saw this one, wish you could have been there. Sorry.
Yeah, you missed it.
Yeah. And Bowie, what did you think?
Yeah, I'm all game for it. I think for me, it was the same reasons that Brian mentioned, where you get so many experts from all over coming in to speak in depth about their experiences and their expertise and how they've been able to create success for their clients.
Yeah.
Instead of you having to invest dollars and invest your clients' dollars, you already have some data and some expertise to reference. And that was really valuable to me.
Amazing. Okay, so I think that's a perfect wrap up for us. In conclusion, unanimous across the digital marketing team, everyone says they would attend AdWorld conference again. So if you watched this far, thank you for watching our discussion on AdWorld conference. If you'd like to learn more about our digital marketing services, you can go to NVISION.co.
Hey, if you like what you saw and you want to keep watching great videos, hit the subscribe button, press on that little like button, and share this with your friends. Also, feel free to check out the recommended videos beside me.